This is Matt, Radio KD8TTE. Today we're going to talk about the Ohio ARES County Information Report Project 20. Stick around. Today we're going to talk about the Ohio ARES County Information Report Project 20. What exactly is this project and why are we doing it? This project is a means by which we are going to compile local information from each of the ARES organizations. Why we're doing it is it's going to give them something to do, which is very important, and we are specifying the means by which they communicate is all by amateur radio. We're going to do this in some steps as we go through the project from one objective to another, but the idea is that with regular engagement, we're going to help everybody build up their capability. We're going to have a message coming from the section emergency coordinator going to each of the 10 district emergency coordinators in Ohio. Each district emergency coordinator will read that message and create instructions for each of the county emergency coordinators in their district. The county's emergency coordinator will then take care of whatever needs to be done per those instructions and then draft a message that goes back to the section reporting results or whatever it is they were directed to compile. Whatever your role is, whether you're operating at the section, the district, or the county level, it's just 1, 2, 3. That simple. If you are in the section, you're going to create objectives, you'll be creating a message articulating those objectives, and then you're going to transmit them. In the district, you're going to receive the section's message, you're going to create a message for the counties, and you're going to transmit it. In the county, you're going to receive the district message. You're going to task your members to do whatever is necessary, and then you will create a message with the information and then transmit that back to the section. Performing these objectives lets us quantify our capability and performance for RF-only communication. We say that we can do it. We say that we're licensed. We say that we have the ability to message. But the question remains, how well can we do it? Do we garble the message along the way? How long does it take? Do we actually have the ability to talk with one another if we don't happen to be on the same net? This project is going to help us to understand what our baseline is today and then how to build upon it so that we can be where we want to be by the end of the project. The first question is, how are we doing so far? Well, to get to this point, we began with a survey. We created instructions and we distributed by any means available. Email was the big one, and we basically just wanted to make sure that any EC or DEC would see the message, they would get it, they would respond to it, and do it without having to deal with all of the added complexity of making sure that they're connected to their message relay system and so on. It's a simple online form. We sent it out by email, said click on this link, fill out this form. It's going to be 5, 6 questions. We had to prod a few to make sure that they got complete. And when it was done, we were able to see the messages come back, and we were able to see how many acted. We were able to compile the response rate by the scope of the net in the case of the message passing nets. We were able to compile the response rates by district in the case of ARES, and in those cases we excluded any county that does not have an EC so we wouldn't bring down those numbers. We closed the survey on the 12th of July and used that as our baseline. So we've got our response rates from the survey. The question is, now what? Well, the response rates tell us which counties are active for the purposes of the County Information Report Project, and we have 2 goals. The first is to make sure that we get our response rates for the radio relayed objectives up to where they were for the internet relayed objective of filling out the survey. And we also want to increase the number of ARES programs that are active by having simple but regular tasking. So rather than having a giant exercise that takes weeks or months to prepare, a simple task coming into the county, which can be easily responded to and have a message coming back to the section, that is really how we're looking to build up capability. Something lightweight, relatively easy, but regular, so it gets practiced every week. So if we take a look at what our performance has been, our first objective is the survey. And you can see we do have responses from all ARES districts as well as from every level of the NTS nets in the state of Ohio. So this is encouraging to see. We know that everybody at least is out there. We have a variable level of engagement, of course. That's not to be surprising. And what is interesting to us now is to compare where we are with respect to objectives 2 and 3. Those were sent out by radio, and that followed the means of relay, section to district, district to county, county back to section. And what we can see is an awful lot of red. So how to read this is that any response level that we have between 80% and 100% is going to be green. Anything from 60% response rate up to, but not including 80% is yellow, and then anything that is below 60% is red. So in taking a look at what we have seen in the first couple of objectives, there are two big troubles that we're looking to address. The first is just not getting the message. You cannot perform an objective that you weren't told about. And so some of the DECs did not have a representative on any of the section nets to be able to pick up those messages that gave them the objectives. So in those cases, we had to contact them through some other means. We decided that we would start out by using internet email, since that is the one that most are using, and it's the one that we used for getting the survey taken care of. Now, to make sure that we started this out with a radio component, we sent those messages out to those internet email addresses from WinLink using RF only. And so what we found is that some of the DECs were not even getting their messages, and some investigation led us to realize that they were actually being spam filtered. So much for the idea the internet is always there. Even if it is, it doesn't follow that the message will actually make it through. The second issue is knowing what to do. In some cases, ECs were just overwhelmed by reading the information about the concept of what we were trying to do on the large scale, and so their eyes glaze over and they don't actually respond. That's not that big of a deal. The idea, what we really need to be done at the county level, is simply response to the radiogram. So let's take a look at the impact. First of all, the impact of not getting the message. Basically, if the DEC does not get the message, then the entire district is cut off. And we think that that sort of thing can explain a few of the cases we've seen where there's a relatively high response rate to the survey, but then nothing that follows for objectives 2 and 3. And of course, if the emergency coordinator does not get the message from the district emergency coordinator, then the entire county is cut off, and that could explain conditions where there is low participation just all the way across the board. The impact of not knowing what to do is also something that would show low level of response. It's the same basic thing. The county is cut off. The issue in that case seems to be somebody confusing a description of the project with the actual requirements for achieving any individual objective. So, not knowing what to do can happen at any stage. Not knowing how to originate a message back, being confused by handling instructions and message format, or how to get a message sent. Is there a net that I'm supposed to join? Is there some way that I have to find the net? How to relay a message? Do I use voice procedure? Do I use NBEMs? Do I have to learn CW? Any of those kinds of things can come up. Relax. This is not a problem, but we can address it in all cases. As we investigate what's going on with these, that helps us to understand where the issues are and helps us to understand what that means for us in training. We're going to need to know what it is that we're trying to do before we can effectively focus on how to do it. So to reiterate the concept, the section will have a message. Our section emergency coordinator needs to send a message out to everybody, or maybe some number of messages that need to go out. In any case, the section emergency coordinator communicates with districts. On the section net, then, each of the representatives of each of the districts will receive the message from the section. Once those transmissions have been completed, each district then has a copy of their message. The idea with the district is that the district emergency coordinator will read the message from the section, understand what it means, and then articulate objectives for the counties to pursue. That will then go into the form of a message that articulates those objectives and then will be transmitted to each of the counties in that district. Just as a message from the section going to each of the districts got a message there, this message from the district goes to each of the counties, and now each county has a message with their instructions. Once the county has the message with their instructions, the county's emergency coordinator will read the message, will organize the resources of the volunteers and of the program to be able to achieve the objectives, and then send a message back to the section. First, that will require drafting the message, originating the message, and then somehow sending it back. Well, how do we send it back? That becomes the question. Well, it turns out the same means that we use to get a message from the district to the county makes sense for getting a message from the county back to the district. There will be, on a district net, each of the counties will have a representative. There will also be a representative for the section that is on that district net. The representative for the section on that district net will receive each of those messages from the counties that's going up to the section. That representative, like every other district's representative, will be on a section net, and those messages will be relayed to the representative for the section emergency coordinator. So, in this way, we have a means for a message to be sent from the section to the district to the county back to the section, all by using radio messaging. No commercial internet, no commercial phone service. When all else fails, this is how it's got to work. So we return to the question of where we go from here. And where we go from here and what that means for you personally is going to depend on the role that you play in the program. So we briefly describe 6 different roles that you might have and what you can do depending on which role you happen to be in. If you are an aspiring ARES member, you're maybe not even in the program at all, and maybe you haven't even got your ticket yet. That's all right. This is a good time to join because we're just developing a lot of this capability. It's easy to get started. You can go to the ARRL Ohio website and go to the section Emergency Coordinators page. It talks all about the ARES program. You'll find training material there, you'll find references, and also the information necessary for contacting the section emergency coordinator. You can see what's going on in your county and in your district by taking a look at the monthly report and dashboard to see what's happening there. You can contact your county or district emergency coordinator to get connected to the group and to be able to start training to be able to achieve these objectives. If you are already an ARES member, then contact your EC and volunteer for duty. Have you worked as a net control operator? If not, I'm sure they'd love to have you. If you have not worked as a relay station on the county net, that's another important feature of any net. If you are running simplex in particular, you need to be able to have somebody who can hear a faraway station and then relay that in to somebody who's running the net or otherwise can't hear that station. Can you represent your county to a district net, for example? Can you provide an outlet between your county and the WinLink global radio email system? Can you provide an outlet for your county to the digital traffic net? All of these are important things that any county ARES program should be able to do. If you don't know how to do this, but you are interested, volunteer. We can train you. We can help you license. We can help you to upgrade your station. If you are already a local NTS message handler, then you can reach out to your net manager and again volunteer. Have you served as a net control operator? How about a liaison? Can you represent your net to a county? Could you represent your net to a district? Could you represent your net to a higher level net, such as the Buckeye net or the Ohio single sideband net? Could you develop additional capabilities like CW or the DTN or NBEMS or WinLink? If you don't know how to do these things but you are interested, volunteer. We can help you to train, we can help you to license, we can help you to upgrade. All of these things are a lot easier to do when you have a specific set of things in mind and you can build your training around that. If you are a local emergency coordinator at the county level, you are key to the program. The entire ARES program is structured around the idea that you are the face of amateur radio in public service to the county's served agencies and to any other organizations that might need to use amateur radio in an emergency. So you need to make sure that you're not doing everything yourself. All of the volunteers are there looking for you to task them. Make the best use of their time, make the best use of their equipment, show that you appreciate the donation of time and material that they're willing to make by putting it to good use. And that happens when you coordinate, not when you try to do everything yourself. Something that you need to do is make sure that you establish nets with which you will liaise. If there's a district net, make sure that your county can talk to it. If there is no district net, make sure that your county has a liaison to a section net. Make a schedule for your liaison so you don't have the same one or two stations doing liaison duty for every single session every single day. You want to make sure that you've got a deep bench, and that happens by having a larger number of operators able to do the duty. They stay sharp by doing it regularly, just not every day. Make a schedule, and if you've got 7 operators who are able to act as liaison to OSSBN, then that means you've got 7 people who can practice that skill once every week, and your county has a daily presence at the Ohio single sideband net. You want to make sure that within your county, your radio operators can get a message to your liaison stations. Having a liaison to OSSBN doesn't do you much good if somebody bringing a message back from OSSBN cannot get it to the county station that needs it. So whether that means you've got a county net that operates at a normal time and is able to move messages there, or people have a program of just listening at a particular time on a particular frequency, whether you move it by voice, whether you use NBEMS, whatever you're doing, make sure that you have a means within the county to communicate. You also want to watch for the county information report instructions. Those are going to come in the form of messages from your district emergency coordinator. They come out weekly, so that's really what you need to do is get that message, follow the instructions in that message, and that's how you'll participate. Again, if you don't know how to do these things, it doesn't mean that's just not part of the job anymore. It certainly is part of the job, but you're not left on your own. The whole purpose of having districts is so that you have others who are able to support you as you go about doing all of those things that are so important for an EC to do. And of course, the reason for the section to exist is to provide support for the districts. So if your district is out of resources, the section is there to provide still more support. We can help you to train, we can help you to find the resources, we can help you to develop the capability in county, we can help you to develop relationships, whether it's with your neighboring ECs, your district emergency coordinator, or maybe net managers who are able to solve some of the problems that you might have in being able to move messages from one place to another. Now, if you're a district emergency coordinator, you're also very important in this process. You're critical to the flow of information. The section is not talking to 88 counties directly, so the district is going to need to provide that means for a county to talk to the section. Now, if you don't have a district net at the moment, can you establish one? If you cannot or you can't yet, then that's the time to make sure that you are letting your counties know the way that they're going to need to message is by going to the section. Section nets can organize into subnets if necessary, and that might be one of the things that ends up happening if we have a lot of stations from a district that all need to communicate with one another, and they don't need to go via the section. In any case, provide what resources you can to the counties. Support them in their operations. That's the role of the district. And if you need more resources to get that job done, then go to the section. That's the section's role. So again, if you don't know how, it doesn't mean it's not part of the job, but we can help you to train, we can help you to find resources, we can help you to develop the capability in district, we can help you to develop relationships with net managers, with other DECs, or with other folks at the section level who would be able to help. If you're a traffic handler, somebody who's regularly moving messages at the section level, then your job is to operate well and to help others operate well. Go out of your way to welcome new operators to message handling. We've got a lot of volunteers who have put in a lot of time and have a lot of valuable experience, but they do not have experience in formal message handling. This is an opportunity to welcome them to the net, to benefit from the experience and capability that they have, all while helping them to develop a better skill in message handling with your experience there to guide them. You can develop new capabilities, whether it's CW, the Digital Traffic Net, NBEMS, or WinLink. Be cognizant also of the County Information Report project. Volunteer to help your net manager. They also have tasks that they need to do in this project. If you don't know how to do any of these things, volunteer anyway. Let your net manager know what your interests are. We can help to train you. We can help you to license upgrade if necessary. We can help you to upgrade your station if necessary. We are all here to help one another, and as a consequence of doing so, we have a stronger and more resilient system. When all else fails is more than a tagline. It is a promise that we will be ready when needed. Training is absolutely necessary, and practice is critical for us to be able to fulfill this promise. In an emergency is the last time that we want to collapse. If you have questions or comments, please direct them to me. I'm very interested from hearing from you. You can send a message to me by radiogram at KD8TTE, Bexley, Ohio 43209. WinLink, KD8TTE, or internet email KD8TTE at pm.me. Thank you very much for your attention. I look forward to hearing from you and talking more. This is KD8TTE out.